gummy nutrition to breakfast cereals.
To breakfast cereals, and then to your question on Nestle and
Baby food.
baby
Oh
food,
my God.
absolutely baby food. I mean, we all grew up having one product or the other from Nestle, right? I mean, that's the familiarity that I had with the company even before joining them. And I was fortunate enough to lead a very big category, the baby food, the cereals. We were 96% of the category in the country. You asked me about what the challenge was. So we were 96% of the category. The category was on a decline. So there was no competition as such. We had competition. Some of those players emerged and they disappeared. At one point in time, FedEx was extremely strong, but then that's another story where Cerelac completely swept the market and they became the market leaders. So the only thing that was happening, there was some value growth that was happening, but that value growth was attributed to pricing corrections, and some rework that we did on the packaging, so which was kind of bringing back some of the margins, and that is the only growth that we were having, but muted growth again. Second, the focus for on the baby foods or the cereals was primarily on extending the journey. So I think we just overdid that entire extension, with the staging, and then there was some science behind it, but I think we just did too much of segmentation to really make an impact on the mother as well as the healthcare community at large. And we also found through the data there was a lot of lapsage that was happening within 3 to 4 months. So kids came in and then kids kind of moved out, and the category was losing relevance. The whole brand was built on mass media. So there was a huge amount of mass media that used to happen, let's say 25, 30 years back, and then the code came in. So regulations became very, very strict, and therefore the mass media disappeared. The HCP communication started, but everything was slightly understated, from our end. And the discerning mother also became more and more clear that they had better options. And obviously, at home you may get more variety versus what you would get in a packaged cereal like that. So therefore, the challenge for us as a team, for me and the team, was what's the real problem we were trying to solve for. And then we really went back into the data. It was not just doing the whole inciting work around the from the data that we had, but also looking at some of the public health data that was there around the same time. So we saw iron deficiency anemia being a massive concern. Kids below 5 years, 75 to 80% of the kids were suffering from iron deficiency anemia, and it had both short to mid to long term implications. Then we found that fortified cereals was a great solve in a lot of the Western countries to resolve some of these concerns, when it came, because supplementation typically never worked, because supplementation always had issues with compliance. So you look at the iron supplementation, and if you see the results over the last 40, 50 odd years, only 13.5 or 14% of the kids have benefited. So there's something that is seriously wrong with supplementation. So then we saw that there was a relevance of fortified cereals to come and address this big public health issue. And then we said, okay, now if we look at the first 2 years, which is the most important phase for the kid, what do we need to do? Kids are coming in. Is there a compelling reason for the kids to come in? So what is the story that we are sharing on our cereals, or on our baby food? So do we need to recraft that, make it a lot more relevant from a science standpoint? So that was the work that we did around the communication, and a huge amount of work that was done by the team. Second is we looked at the whole staging that we had and said, since kids were lapsing out so early, could we extend the journey up to 24 months? Because you really wanted to hold them and offer them the right nutrition till that 24 months. So that was the whole focus, for us, and therefore we launched a stage 5, which kind of helped us address this in a big way, and we were able to kind of extend the journey to a large extent. And the third one was that how do we then extend this journey beyond this 24 months and look at using the media as a vehicle, because you really wanted to communicate on malnutrition, you wanted to communicate on iron deficiency, you also wanted to address the concerns of the kid, because the kid cannot consume so much food. Stomach capacity is very small. It's almost like my fist. And then you're asking the kid to take in so much amount of nutrition, so which means more food. Therefore, you have to make the food a lot more dense and nutritious. So therefore, then using that as through the media and communicating directly with the mother. So that was the whole thinking for us to kind of extend the journey beyond 24 months and then launch Grow, which happened eventually. So that's the kind of work that we did, and which helped bring the category relevance back, drive growth, and I'm sure the team. And then again, the whole premiumization mainstream, which is where the focus was kind of. There was also another, Gerber, which was introduced. I'm sure now you would find this in the outlets in the country. So all that happened later on, but the initial thinking was around how do we get the relevance back on the category.